Hobby Quick Hits. Delivering that breaking hobby news directly to your earlobes. You want to know those hot drops from the card shop? We've got you covered. With your host, John Newman.
All right, welcome to episode 133, Hobby Quick Hits. This episode is also born of a suggestion. I get asked, I believe it was Mr. David Keppel, who asked me, hey, what would you do, John, if you were CVO of Topps, Fanatics, and all that? What would I do? What would, if I had that power and could do whatever I wanted? So that's what this episode is going to entail. I'm going to approach it. We've heard the rumors and whispers that, Fanatics was going to acquire Panini or in some form merge or partnership with them. So I'm going to take that leap and say that Fanatics acquires Panini as well for this episode. That is not what's happened yet that we're aware of, at least publicly announced. But I'm going to assume, which you know what happens when you do that, but assume that's going to be the case when I kind of say, things I would do differently or, improve upon. So keep that in mind when we get to that segment. But before we get to that, we're going to hear from our great sponsors, Mojo Break, do the new release calendar and some hobby news, and then we'll get to what if I was CVO.
MojoBreakShop.com is the best place to get your sealed wax products and breaks. They not only have the best selection, but the best prices. Whether it's a box or a whole case, they are your guys. They ship worldwide to your doorstep. Their reputation as one of the most trusted in the hobby goes unmatched. They are the 2021 Topps Rip Party Champion Breakers. From sports card to Pokemon cards, their selection can't be beat. They offer daily deals and pre-orders.
Hey guys, John Newman here. Mojo's prices are already great, but to save an additional 10% off anything in their store, use the code QUICKHITS. That's QUICKHITS. Check out the full-service store that's open 7 days a week in Santa Clara, California, or the website at mojobreak.com.
Go ahead.
Let's check out this week's Hobby Wax releases. Take it away, Max.
Hey guys, it's Max from the Sports Card Shop in New Buffalo, Michigan, bringing you the weekly releases for this week. Starting on the 12th, we have 2022 Panini National Treasures Collegiate Football, 2022 Panini Prism Quick Pitch Baseball, 2022 Panini Prism WNBA Basketball, 2022 Topps Archives Baseball, and on an Upper Deck Space Jam, a New Legacy. And on the 14th, we have 2022 Leaf Autograph Football Jersey. And those are the releases for this week. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week and enjoy the rest of the podcast. Thank you.
Let's go round the hobbyverse and catch up on this week's hobby news.
All right, not a heavy news week, but there is some news to report. Nothing of substance from the Fanatics Panini deal yet. Again, more rumors arise that it's not going to be an acquisition. It's going to be a partnership or merger. No money's going to exchange hands. Until we really get that press release or official announcement, nothing to see there. SGC is lowering their pricing to $24 for 1 to 9 cards. However, as you sub more cards on the order, that price will go down to $20, and they are still going to tell you that they're going to get your cards in 5 to 10 days. And I can tell you my last order came back in 8 days. So quick turnaround, and now they've lowered prices to, remain competitive in the market as a lot of the grading companies have started to lower prices. So a good thing. I'm a huge SGC guy, regardless of being a sponsor. Matter of fact, starting at the December 4th Syracuse Fairgrounds Collectors Fest show, I will be accepting bulk subs for them. I'll have a separate table for SGC bulk subs at a bulk sub price. So if you're in the central New York area starting on December 4th, you are able to drop off your cards to be submitted to SGC. So just wanted, since we're talking about them, figured I'd make that announcement. Speaking of grading, PSA will be grading Funko Pops. You know, the figurines we all love. I do have some. I have some Godfather ones, a Michael Jordan, and of course a Jackie Robinson. PSA has hired a team familiar with them to authenticate and then give them a numerical grade dependent on condition of that box. And so there you go. Now, they were already authenticating autograph Funkos, the autographs themselves. Now they're going to do the whole kit and caboodle. A Ranger fan just got richer. Corey Humans, who's the vice president of Fisher Investments, was sitting in left field when Aaron Judge hit his American League record 62nd home run. He caught it on the fly, was whisked away to get the ball authenticated. There was a bounty put on it by a memorabilia dealer for $2 million. No word yet on what Mr. Humans plans to do with his lottery win, basically, that he caught out of midair. But, what would I do? I'd probably either sell it for that $2 million or take a chance, right? Put it on an auction site, and with the hopes that maybe you get $2 million. So I guess it depends. I'd probably talk to someone in the auction industry and say, hey, do you think this brings more than $2 million? If they say yes, I'd probably go that route. If they say they're not real confident about it, I'd probably just take the $2 million, right? The odds of him catching that weren't high. He did, cash in. It's not the all-time record. It's the American League record, and $2 million is obviously a good chunk of change. All right, another item I'm going to ask somebody out there if they want to be nice and purchase for me via Heritage Auctions. It's a PSA 6 graded ticket. The date, April 11th, 1947. And this is the first ever Jackie Robinson appearance in a game for the Brooklyn Dodgers in Brooklyn. Before the season officially started, the Dodgers and Yankees played a 3-game series exhibition in New York, and this is the first of the 3. Jackie went 0 for 5, but he did have 3 RBIs in the game. So this is the first, it's not a game that counted in the standings, but it was his first appearance in a Brooklyn Dodger uniform at Ebbets Field. And it's a nice-shaped ticket. I saw a picture of it, PSA 6, estimated to bring $30,000, but I have a feeling it's going to bring more than that. So if any rich people out there want to buy it and donate it to Sports Card Nation, I'd love you for that. I'm obviously kidding, but a great piece of history nonetheless, and someone's going to get to own it. It's the only one known to exist, so there's that factor. That's why I think that $30K estimate's going to be blown out the doors. I think we're looking at 6 figures. Let's see if I'm right once this auction ends. All right, there you go.
And now, our feature presentation.
All right, so I get asked every once in a while, what would you do differently if you were CEO or in charge of a card company? And recently, David Keppel, Dak Mack, on social media asked me, in more detail, what I would do or what I'd like to see differently. And so I told him rather than type a long text message back, I would do this episode. So here we are, right? And obviously this is hypothetical, probably never going to be the case, but we all do that, right? We all hey, if I was in charge, I would do this. I would make this rule. I would discontinue that. I would stop this, right? That's just natural human behavior and reaction, how we would do stuff, had we had the power. So that's what this episode's going to be. Like I said in the open, it's going to be, I'm going to make the assumption that at some point Fanatics and Panini merge, Fanatics acquires them, whatever the case may be. So we're gonna take that leap of faith, if you will, with some of these, what I want to see and not see. All right, the first thing, obviously being a collector, a dealer, and being on both sides of the table, I'm very familiar with the landscape from wearing both of those hats, right? Buyer, seller, collector. I obviously PC things as well. So if I was to suddenly be CVO, CEO of a company, in this case Fanatics, which is now the largest card manufacturer, I would, my focus would be on the collector experience, keeping folks in the hobby, and as they've said right already, they want to increase, I believe 10 times what we have now. I think it's ambitious, but better to aim high than to aim low. But coming in, I would really focus on the collector. They're the ones that are paying my bills, buying our product, and so the less you upset that group, the better off you'll be. Whatever, you can't win the whole room. You've heard me say that before on different episodes, but you want to win most of the room. So that would be my objective, and here's how sort of I would try to go about doing it. So let's start with breaking, right? Sort of the backbone of the hobbies, where most of the product gets, I don't want to say most, but a heavy percentage of the product is ripped through breaking. But what have we seen? In the last few years, a lot more breakers, and a lot more, bad behavior, right? Downright criminal behavior, where they're hiding cards, keeping them, not giving cards to the rightful winner or owner of them, and so there's got to be repercussions for that. If I'm the CEO, and I know it's easy for me to say, but if I see that or hear about it, and there's video proof and evidence, and there's going to be repercussions. We're not going to sell our product to that breaker no more. Direct. I know they're going to have a breaking division, but there's going to be repercussions. If you dupe the public, if you hurt the hobby, we're gonna punish you. Whether that's, hey, for a year you can't buy a product from us, or if it's really egregious, right, you are banned for life. And if we find out that another account is feeding you supplies to keep you going of our product, then they're going to be banned for life, especially if it's criminal and stealing and some of the stuff we've seen recently. There's got to be repercussions for that to deter people from doing that. Other than hurting their own integrity, there's got to be more repercussions to that. Maybe make a breakers only product, right? That would be kind of neat, right? A product that's given to breakers that's the only way you can get it. Sort of, pretty exclusive. You can't buy it direct from us. You can't get it on the retail shelves. This is a breakers product. Maybe you make, one product a year for each sport that you're allowed to produce, but maybe, something I thought about, a sort of an exclusive product for breakers. Grading, they've sort of peeled back on this, but there was talk that Fanatics wanted to get into the grading space. I wouldn't do that if I was CEO. That's got to be, it's a conflict of interest, and it's got to be done by a separate third-party entity. There's no shortage of them, although now most people will talk about the big four. There's hundreds of breaking outfits, and I let them do their job. I let the people decide which one of those 100, grading companies they'd want to use to grade our cards, hopefully. But I would not get into the space. I think it's a conflict of interest, and I think only more damage than good can be done. Redemption, right? Hot button topic. I would try to get rid of as many of those as possible. No one likes redemptions in general, but I would not go on and say we're going to get rid of them 100%, because I've said this on the show, right? As much as we don't like redemptions, right? Redemptions, having them allow us to get some of these players that without redemptions we may not get signatures of through cards. So I would say we're going to try to knock redemptions down as much as possible, and with our relationship with all the players associations being very good, now the players have an equity stake and sit at the table with us as basically brand partners. They have more of an incentive to sign their cards and get them back to us promptly. But again, we may have to have some redemptions just to get certain players. But I just want to make that that redemption percentage very, very low. I think the general public will be happy with less redemptions. Pricing, right? They're eliminating the distributors, because the distributors were making hand over fist, doing some shady stuff themselves with holding products back, saying they were sold out, then putting them back out for sale, saying they bought them on the secondary market themselves. And so I don't want to paint every distributor like that, but Fanatics is eliminating a good percentage of the distribution, want to go direct to consumer. That's fine, but I think some of that is a little greedy too. They want to make some of those nice profits too, and I understand it. You paid a lot of money for the licensing, and the companies themselves. So I get they're in the business to make a profit. But I would try not to price my customer base out, right? My lifeblood is the collectors out there. I would try to not price them out. My stance with kids in the hobby. I don't even necessarily think we need a kids-only product. We just need product that can be afforded by kids as well. Maybe not every product, right? We're not going to make a National Treasure product and make it $100 box. It's not feasible, right? But obviously there are exceptions to the rule, and that's one of many. But your base level, non-high end premium products, try to price it, where it, the masses can buy it. Speaking of the masses, I'm going to try to produce cards where people can get it, but I don't want to keep the presses running. I think that's a fear of mine. Even though I don't open a lot of the new stuff like I once did, I think that's my fear for the hobby, especially with people who do ultra modern, is that these companies just make way, way too much of it. We see it everywhere. And, that perception becomes reality, that there's just, junk wax era 2.0, mass production, overproduction, and all that great equity we build up in that 2 years of boom sort of goes by the wayside. So, keep pricing as low as you can. Keep production as low as you can. I understand there's a lot of new people, the hobby's growing, but try to find that proper balance. Probably easier said than done. Easy for me to say here sitting in my office, but I definitely would try to find that supply and demand mix, the right balance of it. All right, Montgomery Club, one of which I am a member. We've seen prices increase each year, even for existing club members. We've seen prices increase for the exclusive wax offerings, and so I'd like to keep that at a consistent level. But here's an idea I thought about. If I'm Fanatics and now I've acquired the Topps brand and I've acquired the Panini brand, let's make this Montgomery club, maybe we call it something different, but let's make this Montgomery type of club bigger, which encompasses, let's say, Topps and Panini. Maybe we make it, $300-400 a year, and you get a disc. Not only do you get, exclusive offerings of stuff exclusive to that club, but maybe you get 20, if they're going with the direct-to-consumer model on all the, the regular releases, if you will, maybe they make this club where if you are a member of the club, you get 20% off that introductory price as well. So almost like a wholesale, I hate to say it like this, but like a BJ's or a Costco, you get, if you're a member of the Fanatics Club, we'll call it, you get 20% off anything off the website. Anything. Merchandise, wax, jerseys. If it's a Fanatics-owned property and you purchase it and you're a member, you get 20% off. You still get your exclusive club offerings, and I think they can expand and grow that, that club. And, whether they charge $300-400 a year, and they grow that'll be an income, but it'll also come with neat perks for the members as well. Customer service, right? We've seen that take a hit in the last few years. You're on hold for 18 days, then you get disconnected, no one answers, you get a recording, an automated system that leads you to nowhere. I'd clean that up. We need to be available to people with legitimate complaints. We need to fix things as quickly and as reasonable as possible. We need to hear concerns. No one likes a bad phone call. No one likes bad news or to hear that they screwed up, right? But we're human. That happens. Let's fix it. And so I would definitely clean up the customer service department. You're going to get somebody, maybe you have to wait a little bit, but you're eventually going to talk to somebody who's going to address your concerns and get them fixed. Redemptions, if you're waiting for something, for 5 or more years, and we've heard those stories, right? We're gonna make that right. If not the card itself, something comparable and legitimately comparable, not comparable to what we think, but where the customer end agrees on it. Like, that's fair. Let's do it, and let's clean those up and move on from them and start fresh. Right? I think it's one of the biggest black eyes on these companies is customer service and outstanding redemptions. One of my first things I do is let's clean this all up. Let's blow it up, fix it, clean it up, start fresh. It's going to be a job and it's going to entail a lot of stuff, but let's get this done. I discontinue some products, and some people I'm going to get some hate mail here or hate messages here, but there are some products, in my opinion, that fall short of the mark, and some of these may be fan favorites to you, and I apologize if I hurt your feelings. I don't know. They don't do it for me. Again, this is one person's opinion, mine in this case. Topps Heritage. Yeah, I know. This is the one where people are probably getting there ready to shoot arrows at me, but not a big Topps Heritage guy. They're designs that have been done before. And I get the premise. They're not trying to fool anybody. I know what, but I think it's sort of run its course. It's not hit heavy. I know it's not designed to be. I'm fully aware of what it's designed to do, who it's designed for. But I think it's sort of the blooms come a little bit off that rose. I'd rather see Topps Heritage almost become an insert set. And they do that too, right? How many times we see like the 87 design as inserts or parallel cards. And so, in a sense, they're overloading Topps Heritage in a certain way. So I rather see the Topps Heritage almost as insert parallels in the flagship. So, 2023 Topps comes out, and you put in, the 1973 as inserts. You can do different levels, different colors. And I know they sort of do that, but as a standalone product, I think, to me, it just doesn't move my meter. One of the things I would probably discontinue. Maybe launch a new line or something different, right? See what we can come up with. Topps Gallery, not the worst designed product in the world, right? Just, how many times we walk into Walmart and see it, collecting dust. It's just not a well-received product by the hobby community. So let's get rid of that. Archive, again, we sort of did this with Heritage, right? It's again another product where we use designs that have been done before. Well, if anyone believes in honoring the past and tradition and where we are now because of that past, it's me. But we just keep beating these designs to a pulp, and it gets kind of old. Maybe a Heritage almost, every few years rather than every year. You kind of and you build up more anticipation. Hey, every 3 years, Topps Heritage comes out. 2023, 2026, 2029. And maybe a mix of different designs rather than all one design. Sort of like what Archives is, but instead of being an every year product, it's every few years. And I know some of these people are probably like, oh my God, man, Heritage is my favorite brand. Are you insane, John? And, sorry if you feel that way, just not my, not for me. And I'm not saying you get rid of it, old designs completely. Just find a better way to get them in the product where it's just not beating us over the head with it. I love, I think all errors and variations, they have a place in the hobby. And, Topps had started to put, that on the back so you have something. I would continue that, right? I don't think it should be hard to figure out if you have a variation or an error or an image. I think it should be noted on the back. It's done intentionally. It's not a by accident error. So let people know, hey, you got a short printed card, a super short printed card. I would combine now again. If Fanatics owns Topps and Panini, I would make sort of a Bowman U product for both brands, right? Maybe it won't be called Bowman U, maybe called something else, but I would have a product that combines both brands. Can you imagine opening a pack of cards and getting a first Bowman logo and a rated rookie logo in the same pack? I think they'd be able to do that with a cross-branded product, right? If they own both, Topps and Fanatics, if that's what winds up happening, you could open a pack and get, a first Bowman logo and a rated rookie logo. You could get a Diamond King and a Topps insert in the same pack, and that would just it'd be weird, but it'd be kind of cool as well. So I would have products that maybe encompass both, nostalgic and famous brands in the same product. And I think almost like a Chronicles, but with Topps and Panini. And that would be interesting for sure. On the Fanatics side, Prism is sort of their luxury brand, that's not National Treasures or Flawless. And I get it. People love Prism, but I think we've, Panini's really overdone Prism releases. One of my jobs coming in would be like, let's keep the prowess of Prism up there, but let's figure out a way to do it again without beating people over the head with production. The collegiate Prism, do we need it? Can it be his own design without being Prism? We'd have to really sit down and figure that stuff out, if you will. But I try to, Prism's lost a little bit of their luster, optic which is a product I love, has kind of closed that gap. Let's find a way to make Prism, a little more prestige than it's turned out to be. And it's not hurting. It's one, you get a rookie Prism, it's of a player that's performing real well. It's going to be a high price card, but bring back some of that mystique, if you will. There'd be some products I'd have to look along the Panini lines that we would discontinue, maybe some new products. Speaking of new products, I'm going to get a little selfish here. I love acetate cards. I'm a sucker for acetate cards. I know other people are fans of those. The EX brand. I would bring back EX. I would do a lot more with acetate, whether it's a standalone product or inserts. I think people love seeing through a card and still having a player depicted on it. Again, EX is one of my favorite brands of all time, and acetate cards. Ultra did some of those inserts like that back in the day. I'd return to those because I think they still ring true and have a lot of demand today. So that would be my selfish play as CEO, CVO is more acetate on the cards. Don't overdo it, but more than we have now. So there's just some of my ideas. If I was CVO, let me know what you think. Do you have any in addition? If you want to beat me up about the my Topps Heritage take, by all means, take your best shot at me. Maybe I deserve it, quite frankly, but that's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. All right, that's going to do it for another episode of Hobby Quick Hits. Thanks, everybody out there, for listening. Probably, it's fun to pretend. Obviously, I don't believe I'll ever be in that position, but we all do that, right? Hey, what would I do differently? What do I want to see done differently? I don't want to see this product no more. They need to make this product better. We all do that, so I get to share my thoughts on that. So we'll see you here a week from today with another episode. We're going to do my top 10 cards I'd like to acquire that are affordable. Let me put that disclaimer on it. And because I get asked all the time after the Jackie, what are you looking for now? So these are like probably my top 10. I want more than 10 cards, but they're my top 10. So we'll talk about that next week in another episode of Sports Card Nation coming up this Friday. We've also just booked some really nice guests for that show coming up here in October. So with that being said, be safe, be well, and we'll see you very soon.